Angels, what's good? It's your girl Johnny, and I'm back with another video for y'all. Today I want to talk about things I wish I knew before I locked my hair. And this video is particularly important to me because there are things that I discovered personally on this journey that I feel like I did not know before I locked my hair. And then nobody who was locking before me gave me these tips. So I'm going to give them to y'all because I love y'all. So let's get into it.
This is a Mr. Tracky production.
So first tip, not really a tip, just a thing that I didn't know before I locked my hair was learn the textures of your hair. And when I say that, it sounds like, okay, I'm a 4C, I'm a 4B, I'm a 3C, I'm whatever. No, that's not what I mean. I mean, learn your hair textures by the quadrant. And when I say that, I mean like, how does your hair grow here? How does your hair grow here? How does your hair grow here? How does it grow here? Because that really affects the lock process. When I locked my hair, I just assumed that it was all the same. And like, I say that and then there are gonna be people watching this video who's like, no, I know my hair is looser in the front. I know my hair is, tighter in the back. But like, you don't really know what that means until you're trying to lock your hair. The front part of my head is a lot looser in texture than the middle part. And then the back, like for a lot of my melanated brothers and sisters, this area back here is always like super tight, right? That's usually like the tightest curled part of your hair. For me, it is not. So back here is super loose. Up here was super loose. Like this middle section was super loose. And then the back was like, is 4C to the max. So what that means is that when I went to lock my hair, I was doing great in the middle. And this part up here was not doing what I wanted it to do. And I would go and I get it washed and that part would always fall out. And then my stylist would have to recoil it. And then like, it was just falling behind, like the top and the back. So basically what ended up happening was I went to another lady and she actually had to crochet the top. So she crocheted most of this to get it started. And not a full-on interlock, but she like definitely gave it a little help with the crochet needle to kind of just get it started locking together. And the back, she did it a little bit, but the back was able to kind of catch on a little quicker than the top. But I say that to say, if you have a loose curl pattern anywhere on your hair or any section of your hair where the curl pattern is looser than the rest of it, you may need to go in and get like a little assistance with it. So if you notice that like the top of your hair is not locking, but like the back is or like the sides are, that's completely normal. It's just indication of like a very, very different curl pattern. So, you may need to go ahead and get a little help, get a crochet needle. You can even do it yourself. I'm sure there are a million wonderful videos on YouTube about how to crochet your locks. But yeah, that was my first thing. First thing I didn't know before I locked my hair was that all your hair is not gonna lock at the same speed. Another thing that I wish I knew before I locked my hair was that your locks are not gonna be perfect. And I say that because everybody who I encountered with locks, right? So I would meet people with locks and they would make me want to lock my hair. Like their locks looked perfect to me. And when I say perfect, I mean like perfect with size all the way down, no lumps, no bumps. And that's what I thought my locks would look like. Perfectly sealed ends, like all of that. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? It's not true. The people whose locks I thought were perfect are not. Even if you're kind of just looking at mine in this video, I feel like a lot of them look like they're the same size and they look smooth, but like they're not. Of course, now I can't find one. I have a few that are like extremely lumpy and bumpy. Most of my locks, let's see if I can show you, the ends are not sealed. Let's see if I can find some good ones. Okay, like here's one. The ends aren't sealed. Here's another one. The ends are not sealed. So your locks won't be perfect. Every person is going to have a different set of locks, and every person's locks are going to be different from each other. Like it's like a fingerprint. Like there are no two identical locks on my head, and there's no two identical locks on anybody's head. So if you have in your mind that your lock's going to be this like perfect set where every lock is going to be the same, it's not going to be. Like even the density of your hair is different in different places on your head, right? So like even if your parts are the same size, the lock may not be. So like for example, right here on the sides of my head, this hair is pretty fine. So the part, if you can see right here, this part is so much bigger than like this part right here. But I think this lock right here is one of the smallest that I have on my head. Like the hair is just so fine there that it's a small lock. And like you're gonna find like little nuances like that in your own lock process. So it's completely normal. Don't expect your locks to be identical. Don't expect them to be perfect. Like they're just not gonna be. Just the nature of what it is. Yeah, so I think that's like just like the second thing that I thought was really important that I didn't realize before locking my head. And it's not like if my locks didn't look identical, I would hate them. But it like when I didn't know it, it made me feel like, okay, is something going wrong with my lock process, right? Like, did my stylist do a bad job? Or are these parts not even? Am I doing something wrong? Like, why are the locks on this section so much like smaller than the locks on this side? Like, these are the type of things. So I'm telling you right now, if you are just now starting your locks, or if you're like a year in and you feel like they're not all the same size, it's normal. It's normal because your head is not identical in every place. So, you know, cut your stylist some slack. Now, granted, if you see something that is just like totally wild, like I got a part this big right here and a part this big right here, like, okay, that's your stylist probably wilding out. But for the most part, like your locks, no matter what you do, they're not all going to be identical, and they're not all going to be perfect. I do know though that if you are interested in like as close of a like a lock that's all the way straight down, no lumpy bumpies, palm rolling is the way to go. I know I see a lot of people online and they'll do their retwist and they'll grab the hair. Let's see if I can show y'all this. They'll grab the hair like this and they'll twist it like this at the root and clip it. That's fine. Your hair will lock that way, but it doesn't encourage like smoothness all the way down. So I encourage a palm roll down at least like 3/4 of the way, and then if you can clip it at that 3/4 mark, that would be beautiful. But most of us, our locks are too long where there's nothing really to clip it to. So you know, I recommend clipping it down as far as you can just to encourage the locks to be smoother. If you don't actually care about lumpy bumpies, then do whatever you want with the retwist process. And I didn't like overly care about it being lumpy bumpy either, but I can say that like I did palm rolling because that's how I learned how to retwist my hair. And for the most part, they're smooth, but then there are a few of them that just are doing whatever they want to do. It just is what it is. One other thing that I wish I would have known before I locked my hair was that in the early locking process, see, here goes another one. Oh yeah, sorry, detour real quick. The back locks, when I said that my hair texture back there was like so much looser than the other parts of it, like look at this. Like you can't really see it perfect, but like this is just a tiny little baby curl. Anyway, so the other thing that I wish I knew before I locked my hair was that I should have worn my hair up a lot more when I was in those first few months of locking. And with that said, my hair wasn't this long, so it wasn't like hanging over my shoulders. I'll probably try to throw in a picture of my starter locks, but they were like here. But I wish I would have wore them up more because locks collect a lot of lint. They collect a ton of lint. And I know that, you know, when you're looking at it and you see people and you kind of see like lint wrapped, what looks like lint wrapped around their locks, most people are like, ugh, their locks are dirty, but a lot of it is lint. Like, you'll occasionally meet somebody who has like moldy locks, I'm sure, but for the most part, if you see somebody out and they have like kind of white or gray patches like on their locks, a lot of it is lint. And I didn't know that, so I wore my hair down a lot when I was first starting to lock, and my bottom row ended up with like a decent amount of lint in it, and I would try to pick it out. If you check out one of my, I think it was like my first YouTube video, I talked about how I tried to pick the lint out of my hair and I pretty much damaged it, which is why my back row is so much shorter than like the rest of it. But yeah, your locks will collect lint. Now, there are different products that you can use to try to get the lint out of it, but honestly, I would say that when you're in your beginning locking process, like within your first year, depending on how loose your hair is, within your first 2 years, I would try to wear it up off my clothes as much as possible, because your locks are swollen at that point, and then all the lint that they collect just gets locked in there. Like when they're longer, you'll get some lint that gets stuck in there, but generally speaking, like the lint won't really get intertwined in your locks like that. So your starter lock phase is really like that delicate phase where there's some stuff that you're gonna do there that you don't necessarily need to do your entire journey. But that's my advice to y'all. That's probably like one of my biggest advice to new lockers. Like, try to not wear your locks on your clothes. Try to put them up. Give them a chance to lock without like collecting a whole bunch of lint. Let's see, do I have any more things I wish I would have known about my locks? Yeah, they're heavy. Everybody's, you know, locks are different, but for the most part, they're gonna be heavy. When you're washing your hair, and yes, locks do get washed. For the people out there watching this video who don't have locks, you need to wash them. But when you wash them and they're full of water, heavy, okay, and also it takes them so long to dry. I would invest in some type of dryer. You know, I know some people like to do air dry, which is fine if you're like outside. I feel like anywhere where, you know, air is kind of moving through your locks anyway, because you don't want your hair to just stay damp forever and then you go to sleep on it and then it's still wet the next day and it's still wet by that night. Because like, if you just let your locks air dry and like you put it up, like that can easily stay wet for 2 days. Like, that's how long it takes for them to dry. So locks take forever to dry, folks. They take forever to dry. When they're wet, they're heavy. And then if you let them stay wet in dark places for too long, like, they will mold. So, you know, take care of your locks in that way. They're beautiful. It's a low maintenance style that needs a lot of maintenance. I know that sounds crazy, but it's like there are a lot of things that, you know, and it becomes part of your routine, right? Like, it's not like I feel like I'm a slave to my locks. No, it becomes a part of your routine. You find the oil that your hair likes, you throw it in a spray bottle, you spritz your hair once a day, you spritz it every other day. When you wash it, you just know that it's going to be an all-day process. For a lot of loose natural women too, washing your hair just is an all-day process, right? You're like, I'm going to do it on Saturday, I'm going to do it on Sunday. That's the thing I'm doing for the day. Point blank, period. It's the same with locks, right? So it's like, find what your locks like and then do that thing, and it's a rewarding process. Like, I don't regret it at all. But yeah, that's all I got for y'all right now. Let me know if there's anything else you want to talk about. Drop down in the comments. Let me know like some things that you learned after you started locking I didn't include in this video. But yeah, let's talk. Let's continue the conversation. Definitely. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like. Don't forget to comment. Don't forget to tell your friends about it. Don't forget to watch this video a million times. Love y'all. Bye.